Hello everyone! Hi! Happy Wednesday! We are here for Wednesday Live. I'm super excited to be coming to you today from the Tanya MFK page. We're going to be making some big changes over the next couple weeks, and I'm excited to be here and see everyone. Today we are going to be talking about dropping all the extra crap that you might be doing and focusing on 3 systems. There are a lot of things that we can do, a lot of options we have for our business, but there are really essentially only 3 things that matter the most. 3 things that we should really be focusing on, 3 systems that we really need. And if all the other crap was to fall away, these 3 systems would still keep our business going without any of the extras and fandangles. So if you're not focusing on these 3 things, then today is the time to tune in, pay attention, learn what you can get rid of, and make sure that you have these 3 things in place before you start doing anything else. Okay? Super duper important. One thing that I loved hearing, this quote I heard the other day, and it said, if passion was enough, there wouldn't be any starving artists. Ouch, right? It's a little tough. If passion was enough, there wouldn't be any starving artists. And that's the truth. You know, we may love what we do. We have so much passion. We're filled with it. But if we don't have any systems in place to continue our lives, aka be profitable while we're doing this, it's not even just about profit, right? It's about allowing us, if we really want to serve more people, we need a way and a system for it to continue to allow us to do so. Okay? You know, fund our lives, whatever it is, put food on the table so we can keep doing the great thing that we do. And these are the 3 systems we need. So passion alone is not enough. Is passion important? Yes, of course, passion's important. It comes through with everything that you do. It's what's going to resonate with people. But that alone isn't enough. You need to have some systems in place. So we're going to talk about these systems. So what systems do you need? What systems are they? I wrote that there are exactly 8,436,952 business systems. And that's a completely made up number. But it's very believable, right? Because there are a lot of freaking systems out there. There are so many things that you can choose from. This guy says this other one has this method. Type in the word method alone and you're going to get a bazillion things like email method, social media, blah, blah method. There's a bazillion methods. Everyone has a method, right? So what do we do? How do you know what to pick? What am I going to do? Today, like I said, we're going to go through those 3 systems. And so is everyone ready? Is everyone with me? You guys checking out? I want you to type in the chat like, yeah, let's do this. Ready to go. You got it? You ready to go? Yes. Got it? Super excited? Awesome. Okay. So here we are. System number 1. You need a system to get people's attention. Hey, hi there. You need to get attention, people's attention. How do they know you even flippin' exist? How do we do it, right? When I first meet with a client, one of my first questions, and if you've ever gone through a strategy session with me and you get the questionnaire, the first thing I ask is, how do you get business? I can tell you that less than 30% of the people can actually answer that question. They'll say, well, I sell this. They tell me what they do. They don't actually tell me how they get business. It's either answered incorrectly or they just really don't know. And that's the biggest problem, right? That's why we need a system. So sure, they'll know where some of their clients come from. Like, oh, well, sometimes I have a couple referrals. Sometimes I had a friend recently refer a family member come in of somebody I've worked with before. Or perhaps you have a physical place. You're like, oh, I've had someone walk in. They've passed by a couple times. Or they saw a Facebook post once. Okay, but that's not a system, right? That's a hope and a prayer. That's just things that like came through and were like, by chance, this thing worked, right? But you didn't have a system in place. You didn't say, okay, so what we do is we put a sign outside and we, make sure that somebody sees it 4 times and then they come in and then our salesperson approaches them and X, Y, Z. Like that's a system. Okay. I'm not saying it's the best system, but it's a system. Okay. That's the difference. So if you know that your business is coming from, say, referrals, then you need a system in place that would encourage more referrals, right? So we're not focusing on all these other outside things. We're focusing on the one thing that's going to bring referrals, right? So we set up referral programs, or you request referrals and testimonials. Sometimes it's as simple as just asking, right? But you have a protocol in place that, get the referrals to be given, right? You have a system, okay? And preferably this system is scalable, repeatable, and automated. Now, if you've just started out, it's totally fine if it's not scalable. Sometimes, we don't have to think, okay, how would I do this if I was working with 1,000 people? If you only have 40 people with you right now and you're able to do something, really great and like kind of above and beyond, that's awesome. Wow, those people. That's great. But eventually as you grow, keep in mind that you're going to have to you're going to have to think about things that are scalable, repeatable, and can be automated, right? And that's going to be your end goal with these things. So Ramit Sethi, if you follow him at all, he's amazing. He's big in the industry. He teaches I will teach you to be rich, right? It's kind of a great concept there. Totally check him out. He's awesome. I listen to him a lot. He said when he first started, he would spend 50% of his time creating content and the other 50% of his time promoting it. So that meant for him, if he was writing 4 blogs, and each one took an hour, then he was spending 4 hours promoting that, right? So, and that's a lot of time. You're like, well, promoting that blog, how does that make you so much? But if he knew that this was the thing that was getting him attention, so it was worth putting 50% of his time doing that. Now that he's huge and making tons of money in Forbes magazine and all these great things, he's still doing the system of promoting it, but now it's repeatable and scalable and automated now that he has a team and more money and all those great things, right? But the system is still in place because the system works. So there's some examples of these systems that are going to get you attention. You could be in a teaching situation that you teach often and you're able to be put in front of people, right? That's always a great situation. Again, it's a system for you to get the teaching situation, to be there, and how you capture them. We'll talk about that later. Writing and blogging, that's a big one as well, right? Getting in front of people through some sort of blogging platform. Signage in front of a business. We talked about that, right? You'd be surprised how many people are underusing a sign or just don't even have a sign. That extra little step to get attention for somebody to say, hey, come in here. Hey, we have a sale. Hey, we're awesome and different than the next place you might just pass. Right? Another one, Facebook and Instagram advertising. It's a great and often low-cost way to jump in front of people. Hey, get attention. Speaking at events. I mean, there's a lot of things. Like this can come down to like business idea and marketing ideas. It can go big. But the point is, whichever one of these you choose, you need to systematize it. It needs to have a process. We do X to get to Y to get to Z. Right? It's not just we do all of them and hope something's going to bring some business in. No. We need to fine tune it, create a process. And some of them are not always going to work. So that's okay. You can do it. You figure out and go, okay, there's a broken part here, or maybe this isn't the one and we try another one. But throwing our efforts at all of them without a system behind them and just hoping they work, that's where we're wasting our time, our effort, and losing money. Essentially, we're losing money by doing that. So the system you need to focus on is what specific system do I use to get people's attention. Okay, so that is a system you need to figure out. Whatever it is, and what I said, the point is that you get in front of people. This is the focus. So forget all the other bells and whistles. If, screw Instagram if blogging is the best resource for you. Does Instagram work? Yeah, Instagram's amazing. But if blogging is where you're getting in front of people, then focus the heck out of blogging and only blogging and promote it and do it, everything you can to keep getting in front of people. Once you've mastered that system, you can add another one. But stop all the other extra crap. Do what works and brings people to you. And some side notes I have for this is promote the hell out of it. Not a side note, kind of just said that. Be authentic. As always, be authentic. People get weird when they think about promotion. Like, oh, I don't want to be salesy. I don't want to be all, If you are doing something that can help somebody and you're enthusiastic and authentic and real about it, you're not salesy. You're enthusiastic and authentic. You want to help people and that's going to come across. So just be you. Don't emulate somebody else. Be you. Be the most biggest, baddest, craziest you that you can be, because that is what's going to connect with them. So promoting, be you, and it's not salesy or slimy. Unless you're salesy and slimy, okay? Then that's like, you got to fix you first, okay? Whole other session. So, and if it's good and it's not a crappy product, you're doing everyone a service by letting them know that a solution to their problem exists, right? How many times have you had a conversation with your friend and they're like, well, you're like, I'm having such a hard time with XYZ. And they're like, I just used this. And you're like, what? Nobody ever told me that. Why didn't you tell me that? Oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. I could totally use that, right? That's your job. That's what you do. You are that's conversation. You're that, just do this. Well, I had no idea. Yes. And they're going to thank you and they're going to be excited. Okay. So own that, feel that you were doing a service. Okay. And remember, getting attention. This is really important. Getting attention is not getting the sale. We're still in the very beginning here. Getting the attention isn't like, okay, so they're in front of me. Now I'm going to sell them, right? That's what we do. A lot of people do with ads. I'm getting the attention. And then, so now I'm in front of them. I'm like, buy this. No. Let's stop that. Okay. It's about letting them know that a performance is happening. Okay. You're not asking them to buy the ticket yet. The performance, this is the poster for the performance. This is the thing that you drive by and you're like, oh, looks like there's something going on. I keep seeing that poster, right? They see it enough, then they might go to the next step, which is to go see the website. They still haven't bought a ticket yet. We haven't even asked them yet. We just want them to make that next little step. That's the attention, right? So is everyone with me? Are we there? We got number 1, system. If we're getting attention, if you got it, type in like, totally got it. This makes sense. Love it. Everything's great. Like, this is good, right? I mean, it makes sense, right? Like, tell me it makes sense. And I'm going to move on to number 2. Awesome. It's making sense. Got it. Okay. So system number 2. We need a system for getting them to subscribe to your list. There are so many other things we can ask them, right? But the most important system, how do you get them on your email list? Because having an email list allows you to build a relationship with potential buyers, otherwise known as humans that like you, right? It's not just getting them on the email list so I can market to them, right? That's another big fatal step that people make. We get them on, we get excited. We're like, now I can ask them to buy stuff. They just took a chance on you to go, okay, let me hear what she has to say. And you're like, well, I have to say buy stuff. Buy. Oh my God, slow down, right? Let's build a relationship. Give them the opportunity to get to know you. That is what the first step of getting them on your list is, okay? Let them decide if they like you before you ask for their money. And let them decide if they don't like you. Awesome, get off my list. That's okay. Maybe there's somebody else for you, okay? So another good thing about having this list is you're gathering interested people into one place. You know, to subscribe to someone's email, like, it takes initiative. You're like, okay, I guess I'm going to go there. It's a micro commitment. It's a tiny commitment of them saying, okay, I'm interested to hear you out. I'm willing to give you a chance. So don't be surprised when your list doesn't just jump right up and start buying from you, right? Because by joining the list, they agreed to the date. Okay, that's all they agreed to. They agreed to the date. They didn't agree to the marriage. They agreed to the date. So you still have to woo them. You still have to take them out to dinner, and they have to see if they even want a second date. Okay, they said yes to the date. They didn't say yes to the dress. All right. So slow down for a minute there. All right. And then the other thing for why you want to get them on your email list is because you get to bring them into your own playing field. And that's true. Well, we're on Facebook and we're on Instagram and we're on any of these other places that exist that you don't own. Okay. They could change something overnight. They could be like, you know what? Your whole list, your whole page is not accessible anymore, and if you want to access them, you're going to have to pay a monthly fee. Oh my gosh. Like, what if that happened, right? That was always the fear from people right back in the days. You see those viral things like Mark Zuckerberg's going to start charging unless you post this thing. Okay. For the general population, it's probably never going to happen. But for businesses, who knows? It's changing all the time on Facebook. Our access to our groups and the pages we've built as businesses is constantly changing. On a whim, it's not up to us. He doesn't consult with us. Mark doesn't call me up and say, hey, Tanya, what do you think about this change? He doesn't care. He's going to do what he wants to do. Email is one of the only few safe places. And I know you might think, okay, well, I don't own Google, right? Okay, yes, but we still have those email addresses, and we still have, at least for now, what we know is a very direct connection. And as looking to the future seems, that's not going to change anytime soon, right? Email is a pretty standard thing, and it's our one connection to these people. And as far as like the volatility and change of that, I mean, that can change as easy as having home phone numbers versus cell phone numbers change. Who knows? Maybe, but it's over a long process. Email is still your safest bet, and it's still the thing that you can own. And if Google changes whatever Google might change, or Gmail as I'm referring to, you can still take that list. You should always be uploading your list into a CSV file, which is an Excel file, which is a document that you would own of their email list. So if Gmail changes and it's some new fandangled email, then you get on there and you can still email your people. Okay, that was a little tangent I went on that I wasn't planning on, but that's the point. You're in the playing field. You own it. You want to have that opportunity to have a direct connection to them, technologically speaking, okay? Which then allows you to build a relationship with that direct connection. So it allows you to market on your own terms as well, right? Because when we're in email, I can just email you. I'm not having to send an advert. I'm not having to worry about algorithms. I don't have to do that. I email you. It comes to your inbox. Plain and simple, okay? So if I haven't harped on why it's good to have a list, let's talk about what some of these systems look like. Okay, so if I have a system get on my list, what does that mean? What does that look like? So the most common example that you're going to see really across the board for businesses, marketers, all of these things is a lead magnet. Okay, lead magnet. A lead magnet is really just giving somebody something of value in exchange for their email address, right? So we're not asking for money. We're just saying, hey, type in your email and I'm going to send this thing to you, whatever that thing is. Some of the things can be an ebook, a top 10 list, the top 10 things you should know when using cloth diapers, the top 10 things you should know when traveling to Vietnam, the top, whatever the thing, top 5 things, 7 things, I don't care how many number of things, that's an option, right? A how to lose more weight when eating cake. I mean, that would probably go over really well. Tips and tricks for something. Hey, I want to know a tip and trick for XYZ. A free report about whatever. Video series, get my 4-part video series on how to make a blanket. These things come off the top of my head. Free workshop or webinar, right? These are all things that people can exchange an email for. And then once they get that and they experience the thing, they get to make the next step on like, wow, I found value in that. I like this person so far. There are even options, guys, like text to email. I don't know how to explain this, but I think this is amazing, and I don't use it enough. But if you're ever at a live event, there's an option where you can actually say like, hey guys, if you want my notes or my slides to what I just taught you, text, give it to me to 77755, and what'll happen is they'll text it, give it to me, and they'll get an automatic response that says, awesome, tell me where to send it. And they text their email, and then on the back end, what happens is, once it happens, they get this document emailed to them, and they're on your email list. Amazing. People check text messages pretty often as well, right? As opposed to notifications on Facebook. We have so many notifications now. So that's an amazing thing. I can talk about that a whole other thing. But like, these are ways to get emails. That's the point. That's what I'm going over, right? These are ways to get emails. So lead magnets do 2 things. They allow you to demonstrate your knowledge or value without asking them really for much in return, okay? You have a chance for them to say like, oh, wow, like, yeah, and they get a next step to potentially buy from you, right? And they allow you to gather similar people in one place. Like we talked about in email. If we know that it's top 10 ways to do cloth diapers, we know that there are people, hopefully with kids, unless you're cloth diapering your dog, no judgment, in one place that have kids or dogs and, are interested in cloth diapers. Like you already know something about them and you have a list now, cloth diapering list people that you can talk to about that thing, right? Then we talked about segmentation. I did a lot about that last year. We'll jump in again, but this is a way that you gather similar people because what do we want to do is give them a message that matters to them. Whole other thing, but yes, those are the 2 things that having a lead magnet does. And I'm talking about that even a lead magnet process can be longer. So sometimes even getting the email these days, people are a little more reserved about just throwing out their emails. It's not the free love of email anymore. So it's not the 60s of email. Now we might be a little like conscious, like, I don't know if I want to just give you my email. So now there's a thing called Tripwire. It's just the term we use in the industry, tripwire. And what that is giving a value away immediately. So it could be, say you have an ad and it's like, hey, check out this video about how to clean your house faster. And they end up on this page immediately. They haven't given you anything. They end up this page immediately to see this video. On that page is now where we would funnel them down to say, oh, did you like that? Do you want to learn more? Enter your email here. I'll send you the next video or the top 10 list or whatever. So that's another option. A tripwire is a way to funnel them down from here to here to here, eventually down to that sale, right? So this is the system, figuring out the system for you on how you're capturing emails on a regular, consistent basis. Because if everything else falls away, you still have the email. All right. So here we are. That was number 2. Are we still making sense, guys? Is this making, feeling good? You understand what I'm saying? Is there something that's like, wait, I don't know what you're talking about. That's too crazy. Yeah. Number 2, you got this email thing. It's not any of these people who you say email is dead. I honestly want to punch them in the face. Email is not going anywhere. Yes, chatbots are awesome. Yes, there are tons of other things, but that's the point of this whole teaching today. There's a lot of stuff. But if chatbots stop or they become expensive or whatever, you still have your email. You still know how to get people's attention, right? These are the systems that are always going to matter and serve you no matter what. No matter what business you're in or what you're doing. You can take these same principles and go to businesses in the 1800s, right? And the guy selling snake oil, he stood up and he's holding it up and he's going, hey, everybody, he got attention. And then he was like, come over here and sign up for it. And then he mailed them physically snake oil. All right. So these are systems, guys. So question here. Do you recommend doing the offer lead for the emails as an ad or a post? Oh, as an ad or a post. It really depends on how you're getting attention, right? So whatever way that you've chosen to go about getting attention is how you would also offer that. For like say Facebook ad, you have lead ads, they're actually called. And so you would run a lead ad. It's an option on the back end when you're trying to run an ad. And it's usually the offer would be whatever you're offering of value. And when they click on learn more, the little template would pop up that would have their name, email address, if there's any other questions you want them to answer. And what's nice about that with Facebook is because they know everything about us, it auto-populates. It usually already has their name and their email address. So all they actually have to do is click yes. And then it'll tell them, it's worked. And then you have to figure on the back end that an email gets them and delivers the product. Or sometimes it happens within Facebook as well. So yes, can it be done within an ad? Absolutely. Can it be done within, on your, as a post, depending on who your audience is already? Of course. You can do this in several different ways. The goal is just to get them on your email list. You can do this in a physical location to say, hey guys, I have this great thing, sign up and I'll email it to you. Right? So I think, does that help? Does that answer for you? Deborah, is that good? Over here. Anyone else have any questions? So we're on system number 2 right now, and then we're going to get to system number 3. So far we started with a system for getting attention and a system to get them on your email. These are 2 of the most 3. Awesome. Okay, I'm glad I helped you there. And now we're going to get to, and so this is the other thing, right? So once you get them there on your list, now you wine and dine them. Now you get to know them. Now you treat them like kings and queens. And just like being on the date, you know if somebody is playing the part or being themselves, right? If they're trying to act all super macho and like show off and whatnot, or if they're just there talking to you and being with you, right? This really comes down to like your personal process as well of just being there and being genuine and offering value. And yes, of course, you want to sell them something, but they're not there for the purpose of selling something. You have them there for the purpose of helping them, right? Because whatever you're doing, whatever your service is to help them. So you want to weed out whoever's not there and not interested because you want to help the people you can help, right? So we don't get hurt when someone goes away. Like, you don't want to just be on a date to win the date, right? Like, well, I'm going to win the date. We're going to get married because I'm going to win. I'm going to make the sale. Good Lord, no. Like, we're there because we're like, do I connect with this person? Is this an option for me, right? So same way, man. The dating analogies are amazing when it comes to our business, honestly. So this is the time to show your true self and see if they're the partner that, you know, you've been looking for. And if you're the partner they've been looking for. Oh, right? Love in heaven. So yeah. System number 3. Right, so we're coming to the end of this now. System number 3. You need a system for selling your product, right? Like, now I've done all this. How the heck do I sell this thing? What do I do now? A system for selling your product or service, or of course, it's products or services. So first of all, think about, how do you even make a sale? Like, you know, we need to really narrow that down. Is it something that I do in person? You know, sometimes you have a storefront, or perhaps it's a consultation. You meet somebody one-on-one. Is it in person? Is it something I'm doing over the phone? Is it something is it a commitment they're making online? And the reason it's good to think about these things is because each one comes with its own different level of resistance, you know, and different level of trust. You know, it's a lot when you're in person with somebody, you know, they can immediately get to know you. There's an immediate connection. There's a lot, you know, it's a lot less steps in a way for you to perhaps convince them to make the purchase. But getting somebody to meet with you in person has its whole other set of like issues and things of trying to get that someone to show up, right? Like, ooh, now you're asking them to part with time before all of that. But you need to know, you need to really identify what is the best way, or what has been working, what is the process that I use. And then you can start to evaluate, like, where are the difficult parts? What do I need to work on the system? If the difficult part is getting them to show up, let's say you decide it's in person, then that's part of the process you need to figure out. Like, okay, if it's showing up, do I show up to them? Is it about reminders? Is it about whatnot? You know, these are things you have to look at. So first identify, where do I really make my sale, right? Or commitment or sign up or whatever that is, okay? And how does your prospect even get to that point where it's happening, right? So if it's online, do they show up at a sales page? If it's in person, is it at a speaking event? Is it an email funnel? Is it an advertisement on how they got to a point where they're making a sale? Like, how do they even get there? And how do they get from there to the purchase place we mentioned, right? How do they get from the sales page to the shopping cart? Or how do they get from the advert to meeting with you, right? These are things like we need to think about. Because how do they go from hearing you to being interested about you to making a decision that they need your product or service to actually taking the action to buy that product or service? Do you hear that already? Just the questions I'm asking you alone, that's already 4 steps. So many people think it's like I show up and I buy. If you show up at a store, you don't even know what they necessarily have. You might not have the decision. You're purchasing it from this store, right? You have to, there's a whole process. They heard about you. Now they've had to become interested. Just because they hear about it doesn't make them automatically interested. You know, they have to make the decision like, do I even need a pair of pants right now? Like, how's the weather, whatnot? And if so, is this the pair of pants I'm going to buy? And do I want to buy it from here, right? Sale is not a hope and a prayer. Sales can be predicted. A sales system can be repeatable and automated, but you need the system first, right? So once you have a relationship with the people that want to share their problems with you, meaning like your email list, and you've been serving them with value, they're going to want to pay you. Like, they're going to want to pay you at that point. They're like, this person I know can help solve my problem. She's demonstrated it over and over that she can help solve my problem. So make a note that selling is the last system in all of this, right? It's the end of the process. You don't say, hi, my name is Tanya. Nice to meet you. Would you like to run away and get married? Like, hello, crazy lady. Can somebody please remove her from Starbucks right now? Because she's nuts. Yeah, totally nuts. Like, that's not what we do, right? Yet, that is what so many people do in business. So you need to spend your time, you get to know them, and then you can sell to them, and then you can help solve their problems. And this can be as simple as like a 5 to 7 emails that lead them to a sales page where you explain the offer and ask them to pay, right? So you're just starting out. It could be something as simple as like they get on your email and the first email you send them isn't like, hey, you want to buy? It's like, hey, thanks so much. Welcome. This is how we do things here. Here's a little more about myself. The second can be like, here's a list of top 10 things to do. Or if they didn't opt in for something like that already, it could be another value, or it's a video or whatnot. And then it's introducing a sale. Hey, by the way, this is on sale. And then you go, hey, if you're interested, I can answer some questions for you. next one, this is like the last day to sign up for this. If you're interested, are there any, is there something else I can offer you, or there's a deal, whatever. Like, I'm not going to come up with your marketing funnel on the spot. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to give you examples here though. And then the end is like, hey, you missed it. Is there something else I can help you with? Right? But it can be as simple as that. Like, your sales system can be as simple as a couple emails, right? But do you know how many people are doing this step at the beginning? They show up to an interview. Would you ever show up to a job interview and say like, hi, I'm Tanya. So am I hired or what? Like, girl, you just got to the interview. Okay. Like, I haven't even talked to you. I don't know what's going on. But yet we do it in business all the time. We just say, hi, you want to buy? So stop this. Stop this. And here's the other thing, guys. Like I said before, selling doesn't have to be slimy or aggressive. Use a process to filter out the people that love you, that you love, and you can help. And you do that by spending the time with them, by getting to know them, by demonstrating value and offering to help. So, ask yourself, like, do you want parenting advice from a guy walking on the street, just jumps out and is like, hey, you know what? This is what you should do with your kid. And you're like, sorry, sir? Like, who the hell are you? Right? Or maybe there's a lady at the daycare and you see and you're like, oh my gosh, her kids are always so like well behaved and they say please or thank you. And oh my gosh, there's like a spider jumping in front of me right now, you guys. Okay, that was exciting. Now he's on my keyboard. Hello. So moving on. Do we get the rando guy's advice, or do we see the lady? And if she comes up and says something, you might be like, okay, I'll listen. You're still not sold. You're like, I don't know. She might scare the hell out of her kids and that's why they're doing it. But I might be willing to listen. I'm going to hear her out. Okay, right? That's the person I might be willing to hear out because I've seen a little bit of demonstration. And then I talk to her more and I decide if I want to buy. Okay. So really, I mean, that's kind of it, guys. Like, what are we thinking here about this sales process, right? I mean, do you get where this comes from in it and why having a process set out is clear? You need to know your own steps as well. Okay, so first, I want you to be able to tell me when I say, how do you make a sale? How do you sell your product? You say, well, first, I show up in their, on their Facebook feed. Or first, I go and I teach a seminar. And then from that, I ask the 5 people who XYZ and they sign up. And then I follow up with this. And then they have a 5 series emails. And then I sell them to this. And if they buy that, then I know they're interested in this and I can upsell to this, right? That's a system. That's repeatable. That can eventually be predictable. And it can be changed and adjusted from what you learn. But if you're just out there randomly trying things, randomly doing this, how can you ever improve on that or know what the next step is? Because you're just grasping. But a system, you can go, okay, looks like the breakdown is in this part of the system, so I can fix that, right? You can't call a plumber and say, the stuff is just broken. Okay, well, what part of it? It's just broken. Okay, well, what is it? There's just water. From what, ma'am? Like, just come and fix it. Like, he doesn't even know where to start to help you, right? So this is why it's important for us to really start to look at a system. And yeah, they're not all going to work. There are going to be things that need to be changed or adjusted, or even trying different ways, right? But again, we won't know until we start somewhere, right? And start to look and start to adjust. So I have something here. You had to step back because you want to help and succeed, but a system and getting to know someone is always the people who eventually buy. And that's absolutely true. Absolutely. Because that's the relationship. People buy from people they like, know, and trust. It's not always because you're the number one best or the most popular or something like that. It's because they get to know you. Right? They get to know you. And knowing you doesn't mean we have to be BFFs, right? It doesn't mean we have to do that. But they get the personality there, and they can easily explain you to someone else. I think that's a big part that I try to strive for as well, is that someone say, oh, this girl, you check her out, she teaches XYZ, but she's really like this, and that's what I love about her. I could tell you right now, a perfect example. There's a YouTube, I have no mind plugging her at all. I do a lot of yoga YouTube, right? On YouTube, and it's Yoga with Adrienne. Look up a yoga video on YouTube and there's a bazillion, okay? Everybody. And there's this one beautiful gal. She's like always in exotic locations and she can stand on her pinky and all of these things, right? It's amazing. But I love Yoga with Adrienne because she totally messes up and everything's really simple and she's just like, yeah, that's life, and she moves on. I just explained her to you, right? I just was able to tell you in a nutshell what I like about her and what's different. Even though there's probably better, more advanced yogis who can float in the air, she might not be the one. This is what she can do, and that's why I love her, and that's why I love Yoga with Adriene. That's what you're aiming for. That's really that part, that relationship building. That's what you're aiming for someone to say, oh, this one, I love her because she does this. And usually that's like the least important part. They're like, she's a trainer, but I love her because she does da 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 da, and she like makes it really simple, or she like is really high level complicated, or like she explains every detail, or I love it that she doesn't explain every detail. Like whatever that is, right? You want someone to be able to explain that, to know you, and then that's the decision of why they're buying from you, right? Why they're using your solution. Okay. So, one thing I wanted to throw out here. So we've gone to 3 systems, guys. I'll recap that in just a moment too, but there's one thing that I was learning in one of the mastermind groups that I'm in. And I loved this story. It's like a super old story, I guess, right? I don't pay attention to the Olympic stuff, but I thought this story is awesome and it was really inspiring. So there was a guy who was an Olympic gold winner, okay, like a bazillion years ago. And a bazillion years ago, it was like the 90s. His name was Ben Hunt Davis, okay? And he was part of an underdog, like UK rowing team. And they basically surprised everyone by, like, every year they were just terrible. And then, of course, they were, like, just shot through and won the gold. And everyone was like, what? Like, what the heck? Like, we totally thought these were the people who were going to win. These guys just showed up. And so he started to give, like, these motivational talks. And when he would explain what was different this time. He said that, they had learned that if they did everything the same as they had done before, then they were going to get the same results, right? If we're like, okay, we're going to do the same training, the same stuff, maybe just harder. It's all the same stuff, right? That they knew, they were like, we have to do something different. We need to do something different if we want different results. And so while they were determining what they should do, right? They were like, should we try this? Should we try that? They always asked one question. Will it make the boat go faster? Right? It's a rowing team. That's all that matters. Will it make the boat go faster? Because no matter what little thing they were going to do or what they chose to spend their time on, they had to answer that question, because in the end, that's all that was going to matter. Will it make the boat go faster? So should we spend 3 hours on the rowing machine? Will it make the boat go faster? He said, unfortunately, yes. And so that's what they did, right? Should we go to the pub tonight? Will it make the boat go faster? Probably not. So I guess we're not going to the pub tonight. Do I eat a big old cheeseburger? Will it make the boat go faster? If you got an extra kilo on you, probably not, right? Not going to make the boat go faster. And it was this focus that took them to the gold. And I think as we go through our business, we go through our lives, we go through really anything, and we look at our goals, and we're bombarded with so many freaking options. We need to step back and think, will it make the boat go faster? Will it hit me and go to the goal that I'm ultimately focused on? Yes, there's all kinds of options, but will my Instagram account get me the referrals I need? And if the answer is yes, great, then that's an avenue to explore. But stick with that thing, okay? And will it make the boat go faster? Because especially when we're starting out, everyone's got a method, everyone's got something you try, and there's so many great things, helpful things, but a lot of times we're only one person. Maybe a small team, and we need to focus on just what will make the boat go faster, okay? So I loved that story. I thought it was awesome to share with you guys. So again, recapping, there's tons of systems, like I talked about. The only 3 that matter is a system for getting attention, a system for capturing emails. Yes, that's a very specific thing. Capture those emails. Own your list, okay? And a system for making sales. That's it, like a real system. Like these are things you can write down. These aren't theories. I want you to say, well, in theory, if a sales is, no, I want a system that you can write down, repeatable, that you could teach somebody else and say, this is how we do it at Awesome Corporation. Okay, this is how we do it. So any employee can come in and do that process. Okay. So yeah, this is part of like 10x thinking, guys, thinking bigger. The bigger that we think of our goals, then all the other extra crap falls away and we just focus on what's right there. Okay. So before I leave, anyone have any questions? Anything about anything? It says, This is super fun. I like this is really a direct lesson here. That was just the 3 things. And I hope this is a sense of relief in some way too, right? Like it just kind of goes, okay, like right now it's okay. And I'm telling you, focus on these things, make these systems, and you're going to see profit. Like you're going to see it way sooner than trying to juggle 40 things, okay? Like it's a big difference. It's a big, big difference. So any other questions before I sign out? You got some there? Yes. All right. Awesome, guys. Well, thank you so much again for joining me today. If you like it, definitely, yes, click that like button. I love that. Thanks for sticking around, and, follow me, continue to follow me on the Tanya MFK page. We're going to be making some changes, so definitely come and join us on Tanya MFK. We're going to be doing live there a lot more. And of course, if you're watching us on YouTube, click that subscribe button over there. It's probably over there, which side, one of these sides it's going to be. Click that button and you'll know when new lessons come up. And also check our playlist. If you like this lesson, you'll probably like the other ones too. Super informative. Check them out. And I will see you guys all next week. All right. Tanya MFK. Love seeing you guys. All right. Bye.